A lot has changed since my last Chad Kelly video. I mean a lot. So check this out. In my last video on Chad Kelly back in 23, I was talking about how he was taking the league by storm and potentially becoming the next great thing in the CFL. And he did that. He ended up winning the CFL's most outstanding player and leading the Argos to an historical 16-2 record. This wasn't just all Chad Kelly. That Argos team was amazing, dominant, top to bottom. They nearly won all the awards that year, from Chad Kelly winning MOP to Adarius Pickett winning East Division Defensive Player of the Year. So not the league-wide, but still pretty good. To then Dejon Allen, their offensive tackle, winning Lineman of the Year. Quantes Stiggers, who is now in the NFL, winning Rookie of the Year. Javon Leake, winning Special Teams Player of the Year. Their head coach of the year. You get it. They were different. Like watching that team, you thought they were the Grey Cup winner. But once they made it to the playoffs in the East Division final, they lost to the eventual champion, the Montreal Alouettes, who were on a hot streak. And Chad Kelly unfortunately saw his worst game yet, throwing for 4 interceptions to his only touchdown. Like, bad game. A ton of personal fouls during that game. But that wasn't his worst personal foul. His worst came off the field.
First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for being here. You know, I'm sorry for my actions. I'm sorry for what I did. You know, I affected a lot of people.
Wait a second. Before we get into this personal foul of Chad's, we need to understand who Chad Kelly is. Chad Kelly is Jim Kelly's nephew, NFL Hall of Famer Jim Kelly. Pretty good genetics that you're working with. And yeah, Jim Kelly has stated that Chad is a far more talented athlete than I ever was, has a far better arm than I ever did. And that ended up being true, as Chad was a highly touted dual threat quarterback coming out of high school and was highly ranked. He decided to commit to the University of Clemson, but it's in Clemson where his troubles began to show. In fact, he was dismissed by Clemson because of behavioral issues and immaturity, was forced to transfer to a JUCO to then try and get another opportunity. Luckily he did at Ole Miss, but because of these nagging behavioral and immaturity, he was never able to develop as an athlete and truly showcase his potential, as he was drafted as a Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the NFL. For a guy as talented as he was, you don't get drafted last pick. So clearly there was a lot of things going on. The draft process, teams just believed that he wasn't worth the risk. And they ended up being right when Chad Kelly went on to do this.
Former Denver Broncos backup quarterback Chad Kelly pleads guilty to second-degree criminal trespassing after being arrested last Halloween. And now investigators have released video of the night of his arrest, and you can see him running out of a stranger's Englewood home. Homeowner chased him out with a vacuum cleaner.
That truly ended up being Chad Kelly's story in the NFL. Not fully taking your opportunity, not maximizing your talent, and just keep messing up and being immature. So coming up to the CFL was an opportunity for him to restart. Start from a clean slate, learn from your past mistakes, and let's do it. So when Jim Kelly came on board and said, let me do this TSN special because I believe that Chad is reformed, learned from his past indiscretion, and is ready now to lead a team and to maximize his talent.
I'm more focused than I've ever been.
In his second CFL season, Chad Kelly has been named starting quarterback of the 2023 Toronto Argonauts.
To be honest with you, I would not be doing this interview if he was in the same situation that he was in a couple of years ago. I wouldn't have wanted to do it.
Chad himself stated that, yeah, I was very immature. I wasn't in the right mindset. There's a lot of things that I wish I'd done it differently, but now I'm in the right headspace. I'm ready to lead a team going into that 2023 season. That's what he stated at the Waggle podcast.
I think reflecting on, obviously the past 6-7 years
and seeing where I was and now where I'm at, I think because of this long journey has now prepared me even more for this moment. And, you know, I could say that maybe 3-4 years ago I was ready, but physically and mentally, I think I'm on a whole different wavelength. And where we are right now, obviously, I feel comfortable in where I'm at and what I've been through.
Even in his MOP speech, he was thanking everyone, his support system that was there during this turmoil that he was going through, college, NFL. Even his girlfriend was like, man, thank you for being by my side.
I want to thank my girlfriend for being there for me every single day. I mean, there's so much that I can be thankful for, but I know you've made an impact in my life that is going to last forever, so thank you.
So to see what happens next is truly incredible, and I was just dumbfounded. Here comes that personal foul that Chad Kelly committed. In February, a former team employee filed a lawsuit with the Ontario Superior Court alleging Kelly repeatedly sought to initiate romantic connections with her throughout the 22 and 23 seasons. That case was later settled out of a court to the satisfaction of both parties. The 6'2", 216-pound QB stated, "I will not speak on that," when asked if he's apologized to the plaintiff. So knowing what you know now, you can understand how that is alarming, as he came into the CFL with a clean slate, no baggage. He was a fresh athlete. Not a lot was known of him unless you were really a die-hard football fan. But for the other casual CFL fan, they didn't know who he was. But now that slate is stained and people will remember what you did. So now you have to reform your image so that people can kind of see this newer version of you. So it's just not good, right? So hopefully this situation, him serving that 9-game suspension and having all these other conditions, last chance agreement, right, that had to be signed for him to be back in the CFL, and has a bunch of other conditions, stipulations he has to follow, has to have seen counseling, a gender-based specialist, all these things. Now if you mess up, you're out. But the thing that just hurts to me is just seeing a guy as talented as he is not fully maximizing it, right? It's like every turn you're just trying to mess it up and just cutting your career short, never fully seeing that fruit sprout, right? You want to be able to show what you got. At least make your Uncle Jim proud, man. He's constantly supporting you and you just mess up. So I'm wondering, is he still talking to you? I don't know. But hopefully this time around, you turn it around and become the player that you were destined to be.